They're coming. They're coming your way. They'll be here soon. Will you be ready?
Sometimes on Traumathon, I like to keep it simple. Sure, we can talk about, I don't know, the history of a serialized novel, or maybe we can talk about the reasons why a national broadcast system sounds so scary, or we can just sit here with a thumb up our asses and just talk about some actual scary shit that just happened one time in a video game. And that's exactly what we're going to do today. See, back in the early 2000s, Scooby-Doo was a big thing, and don't ask me why, I legit don't know why. The franchise has been around since the 70s, and somehow, through the magic of syndication I guess, it grew into something even bigger with spin-off after spin-off, toys, movies, I don't know, maybe albums, if I'm pretty sure that existed. The 80s and 90s was a peak point of Scooby-Doo as multiple revivals came out of nowhere with a pup named Scooby-Doo, Scooby-Doo in the Ghoul School, Scooby-Doo and the Reluctant Werewolf, and Scooby-Mania really just ramped up towards the end of the 90s when seemingly every single year a brand new Scooby-Doo animated movie would come out, all being pretty well animated and even being sometimes decent. Things haven't really changed nowadays, have they? I think every single year since the 2000s there has been at least one feature-length animated Scooby-Doo movie, hasn't there? Though I do think the animation and the quality has definitely dipped down a bit. But going back to the early 2000s, everything exploded when Scooby-Doo had its very first live-action movie called Scooby-Doo and the Scooby-Doo. To be honest, I actually kind of enjoyed the film as a kid, and even now as an adult, I actually still think the movie's pretty charming. I mean, sure, fart jokes, the typical story, stupid CG. I mean, it's made for kids, not for the Oscars, but give it a fucking break, it knows what it is. I even rewatched it just recently, and really, I don't think it's that bad. I wouldn't even say that it's great, but if I'm ever in the mood, I wouldn't mind watching it again. Now, of course, with all this newfound marketability that Scooby-Doo had and suddenly garnered, and with the live-action film garnering over $275 million in the box office, it was a no-brainer to have a sequel to the film. And a sequel there was, Scooby-Doo 2: Monsters Unleashed. Of course, with any film with a seemingly endless potential of financial gain, promotional material has to be made. Sure, we had the Burger King kids meal toys and the bad video game or two, but the one I want to talk about tonight is of course the point-and-click flash game known as Scooby-Doo Escape from the Kulzanian. The main point of the game is to get you to watch the movie, help Scooby-Doo Escape from the Coolsville Museum. I don't know why I'm having such a hard time saying that. I've actually recorded this 30 times now. Coolsville. I don't know why I'm saying Coolsville. What the hell's wrong with me? What, you got a fucking dick in your mouth? It's a simple game that has a few brain teasers here and there, as seen in most popular point-and-click games. Not many people talk about it because, well, what is there to talk about, really? Well, there is one thing that we can talk about, and it's something I think is unnecessarily creepy, and honestly, kind of fucked up. See, after you're done solving your first room of the game, you're taken to a room with ancient Egyptian motif called the Mummy Archives. As you solve puzzles between the two rooms separated by the sarcophagus room, you will eventually stumble upon a crowbar. See, without the crowbar, you're unable to open the sarcophagus in the center of the room. And up until now, you're pretty much told that everything you click has some meaning, some clue to help you to get by the level. So, of course, logic stands to reason that if you use the crowbar on the sarcophagus, it's likely to have a clue or a puzzle piece to help you advance to the next room, right? Well, here's what happens when you actually open the sarcophagus. Wow. Holy shit, That's fucked up. Like I said, the game thus far made you trust it, made you think that everything you picked up was part of the game and it was part of solving the entire thing, and it's needed to move on. Not this though, there's really no purpose for this crowbar, this sarcophagus, like at all. It's all just a huge red herring. What's even more messed up is the fact that they really play up to the atmosphere of this scare. The music goes totally quiet. All you can hear is the scribbling from the writing that's appearing before you. As the message is being sprawled out, you get a pretty creepy vibe from it all. It's so totally dark. All you can hear is the scribbling on the wall, and the message itself is kind of creepy when you actually read it, warning you about this creature following right behind you. But by the time the message gets to the end, it's too late. Keep in mind too, this is a Scooby-Doo game. Scooby-Doo isn't really scary. I mean, sure, it can be for babies, and some of the monsters are kind of creepy. Though for the 99% of the human population that isn't scared of Scooby-Doo, your guard is totally down. Like, nobody really expects a jump scare from a Scooby-Doo game. It's the last thing on your mind, and then bam! You get hit with this horrible apparition. This face comes up half a second after the last word is written too, and it's pretty devious when you think about it. Look how small this text is. And sure, it's legible from where you're sitting, but keep in mind, this is how the game actually looked on most monitors back in 2004, so you really had to get up close to read it back then when it was being written. The message goes away so fast that you might even think that you must have missed a clue, right? After all, the game hasn't given you a red herring before, so why would it do so now? So you check again, preparing yourself for that jump scare, enduring that hellish scream and that ghoulish face, all for the sake of beating this game, only to find out the message really doesn't have any meaning whatsoever. It's just nothing at all. Before you can even conceive that info though, this horrible white mummy thing, I don't know what the hell to call it, comes up and scares the ever-living shit out of you for the second time. I gotta admit, it's a good scare, albeit cheap. For some of you, this might be your very first jump scare ever, and for that, you really have my sympathy. It's odd to say, but this Scooby-Doo Flash game has probably one of the most effective and the most terrifying jump scare ever seen in a Flash game. Oh yeah, and by the way, one more thing. Does anybody want me to cover Zombie Island? I kind of mentioned it briefly, and I really liked that movie a lot as a kid, and it really spooked me too when I was a child. I know I'm not alone on that either, but a lot of people already have talked about Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island, so I'm wondering if you guys want to hear me talk about it too. Let me know in the comments.